We're live. What's happening, guys? Still waiting for Kiwi. He's going to be fashionably late, I'm sure. He didn't text. Usually, if he's not going to make it, or he's going to be really late, he texts me. But then again, he could be underwater. I mean, that happens too. So we'll see. What's happening, everybody? I'm kind of lonely. I feel like. Well, okay, it was a car. Car's keeping me company. Uh, let's see who we got in here. AC Martin Chongo. What's happening? Jeff Hutchins, Scarlet Fire. Bob Bump, Mitten Made Muscle, Uncle Squirrel. Personally, I blame yes. No Kiwi. I'm sure he'll show up. He's probably, I don't know what he's trying on shoes or something. I don't know what he's doing. Yes, Slaghammer is going to fill in for, yeah. Uh, Rap Daddy, good day, mate. What's happening? Charlie, how you doing? Sean Fagan, freedom seeker and constitutionalist, love life. Yes, yes, love it, man. It's awesome. Even the bad stuff can be good. Fubar! What's happening, brother man? Bill McKaiska. Chris, Kiwi's man petty is taking a long time tonight. Yeah, he's probably getting his toenails done. Those guys from the raft, they're funny like that, but that's good. That's good. All right, let me move this back a little bit. Okay, is that better? Yeah, it looks pretty good. Um, Ren, how am I doing? I'm doing better than I deserve. I'm doing definitely better than I deserve. Who's that? Who says that? And I don't like this guy because he's very hypocritical, but he always uses that phrase. Um, doing better than I deserve. He's here in Nashville too. I can't think. Oh, Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey. Yeah, doing better than I deserve. Um, Somewhat fast. What's up? What it do? It do it all. Tavo Garage. You always look at no homo Tavo, right? I mean, that. You know what I'm saying, right? Funny like that. Um, Jose Jimino, Ariba El Duf. Yes, yes, I had that a couple of days ago. It's all right though. Now it's cleared up. Greasy Garage, what's happening, brother? Mike Brunello, Kiwi is unreliable like a lean burn Mopar. Michael Kinder, thank you for the video and blueprinting. Awesome. Actually, this is the engine that's in this car is the one that we did that video on. Let's see, Patrick Viniga, maybe go for low sevens with a whiff of nitrous. That's not the point of this car. That's what Bottle Rocket is for. The Bottle Rocket is the car. We spray the thing, and that's the car I'm going to actually try to go fast with. This is a bracket car. It's something to just take the nostalgia events and stuff like that and have fun with. You know what I mean? I don't want to turn this into a nightmare car where it's always broken, it's always needing things, it's always being upgraded. I just want to find a comfortable level of performance for it, and then just leave it. I don't want to mess with it beyond that. Scarlet Fire, in the last days, good will be called evil and evil will be called good. Well, yeah. Kevin Gallo, good evening. Enjoy your videos. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Eric on Copper, Kiwi probably broke down. Yeah, he's got that $160,000 blue thing that he drives, and yeah, it's probably one of the turbos probably fell off. You know how that is, right? They're so unreliable. You think it's doing well? Oh, Tavo, you think it's doing well? Considers intended to be a Gambler 500 car, bro. It was a front axle. I was just telling somebody at the track the other night, Friday night, we were at the track, and like I was like, why'd you do that, man? Why'd you build this car? It's cool. And he says it was the axle. I says it was originally gonna be an off-road car. And then I walked into the shop one day and I seen that axle, and it just spoke to me, and it says, no, 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 you want to be an old school gasser street freak thing. So that's what it is. Let's see. Patrick Viniga. Okay. Yes. Okay. Vininja. Okay. Gotcha. Keep it NA and play. Prep. Yep. The track is the best holistic therapy. Yeah. Yeah. Just a car to go and make just simple fun laps with, and it really is a simple fun. First time I took this car down a nice track because usually run at Buffalo Valley. Buffalo Valley is a very sketchy place. So Etheridge, where we ran this last Friday, is such it's reminds me of the tracks we used to have up in the Northeast. I grew up at Englishtown. It's 22 miles from my house. made thousands and thousands of runs there and everything you can imagine. And Etheridge was just like that. And driving this car, Etheridge was funny because it was like sitting at home on the couch watching a GoPro video like through the windshield of the car going down the track. It was great. It's so wide, flat, straight. It's just like you just sit there and go, Zero, what's happening, brother? Um, let's see. Dean Stevenson, another day, another zombie apocalypse missed. I don't think we missed it, bro. We're in the middle of it. The zombie apocalypse is a very real thing. It's actually happening right now. It's been happening for the last couple of years. Um, Cripple Crib 92. Hey, Uncle Tony, I hope you have a great night. Can't stick around. I'm at work. Oh, well, don't let me. You can catch this on the replay. But enjoy your evening at work, bro. Um, let's see. Motorhouse 77 Racing. Hello, I'm from Brazil. What's happening, brother? I mentioned your country the other day. Kyle Wagner, what's happening? Blood Battery, how you doing? I'm doing awesome. Joe Antonio, I had to use an air hammer to bust loose a rusty fuel pump ring on a plastic fuel tank. Ooh, a few gouges and dings on the tank by accident. Did not penetrate through. Good to go. Replace tank. That's a judgment call, man. It's probably fine. It's probably fine, but really look at it. If you gouged it to where you think it may split like at an impact, then change it. But I probably wouldn't worry about it. Man-made muscle. I seen a zombie get hit by a car in Detroit and walked off like it didn't happen. I know. Scarlet Fire, this World War III may interfere with my muscle car cruises. Here's the thing. It probably won't. World War III World War III is going to happen. Whether it happens, don't worry about it, right? Because one of my favorite pictures. Man, this is really off topic. One of my favorite pictures was taken during the Blitz, and it's a woman, okay, and she's cleaning up, like she's like sweeping the floor. So she's in the middle of this. She's in the middle of this like bombed out devastation, right? And half her house is missing, but she's tidying up the floor. You know what I mean? Because no matter what, life goes on. It's all going on. So yeah, they'll have World War III. Let them do whatever they're going to do. Get away from like the crazy places where crazy things are going to happen. Get away from there, and life is going to go on. Every day the sun goes up, the sun goes down. Don't stress it. Let's see. Ali the Earth Truck Kid, UTG, you got to make videos finding ways to produce your own fuels. Melting plastic can be made into diesel gas produced by alcohol, producing alcohol, used motor oil, etc. This may be very important in the future. Bro, there are other people who are going to do that with a lot more expertise than I have. And there's one guy who's on here all the time, the sweaty fat guy. And his whole thing, he brews alcohol at home for his cars, and he runs everything on alcohol. And if you have any real questions, meaty questions about that type of stuff, when you see him pop on here, ask him, because he's the guy. Paul Capital, did you see the JJ the Boss wheelie with the guy riding in the back of the pickup? Yeah, I saw it. And honestly, that reminded me so much of like back. Okay, so you got to go back in the day. Things are different today. Drag racing has mellowed out so much over the last like 30 years. Back in the day, that was like a really normal thing. Anytime you had like a funny car match race or anything like that, there was always somebody who did something like that. There was Benny the Bomb blowing himself up in a coffin. There was this other guy that did the slide of death. They dragged him on the ground behind a dragster, right? This was like the normal stuff. There was the unicycle, the leaning tower of death, right? They did all of these crazy things all the time at all of these freaking match races. And I usually had front row seats to this stuff, So I don't see what the big deal is. It's a dumb thing to do, right? But people have been doing dumb things on drag strips for as long as they've been drag strips. So I don't see why they're making such a huge deal over it. Glenn Nickerson, UT, we're both the same age. How come you look so much different? Years of nitromethane? It's because I don't care. It's because they just don't care. That does it for you. You know what I mean? That's what that eternal youth comes from not caring. Don't care. Don't care about things. Don't care about stuff that's out of your control. Don't care what people think of you. Don't care about what people say. Don't care about politics. Don't care about any of that shit. And you'll drop 20 years in a blink of an eye. Um, let's see. Zero. Surrounded by military bases here, also like living in the core says, well, yeah, bro. That was one of the things, man. When I lived in New York City, like, okay, so it was like after September 11th, right? And when the last 2 years that I was there, we left in 2003. The last 2 years we were there, everybody was just waiting for the next shoe to drop. And I lived on Staten Island, so like 15 miles away from Perth Amboy, right? And there was always talk of them bringing in nukes and stuff like that in containers and stuff, you know. So it was always living with that thing of like that shadow over your head that just any minute now somebody can pull the plug on you, you know. So I could see living, obviously once I left her, it's like all those cares are gone, right? So yeah, man, I would get out of there. I would get out of there. Uh, Pitsky P. I remember the human stick of dynamite at a drag race. His name was Benny the Bomb. Um, you saw him 1,000 times at Englishtown, and I'll tell you how his thing worked, okay? Because he told me how it worked. So they put him in a coffin, okay, and he had, I forget, maybe 5 or 6 sticks of dynamite, and they were all placed strategically so that when they blew up, they blew out. So he was in the center of this thing with the dynamite around him. And because the charges would, everything expanded, and he was like in the eye of the storm. And he says, when it goes off, you just feel like a thud, like a poof, and then it's gone. But from outside, it's all, but because he's the dead center of the explosion, it all blows away from him. There was one time that I remember this. This was at I don't know, one of the races, and one of the sticks of dynamite either didn't go off or it shifted, and it blew up, and he hit the ground, and he got up, and he took his helmet off, and there was blood coming out of his ears. It's so funny. You had to be there, right? But he kept doing it. He kept doing it. It was his thing. He got paid very well for it. Um, Charlotte Corner, Doctor Strangelove and Failsafe movies. Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies, man. Doctor Strangelove is just, that's a great movie. I'm not really into movies. I'm not a movie guy, but Doctor Strangelove is awesome. Um, Machine Mania. The reality that you create in your head is the reality that your life will become. Yes, exactly. So simple, yet took me 20 years to learn that. Dead on, dead on, dead on. But okay, but here's the thing. Okay, so I got to throw something. I got to throw something on top of that. Okay, you have to be divorced from outcome. So you create what you want in your head, like you visualize who you want to be, what you want to be, right? You have to have an idea of what it is that you want to do. Okay, and for me, my thing was always just to be independent. Okay, just have nothing hanging over me. So I always visualized myself. I always thought of myself and acted in a way that I was completely independent. But and that's how I ended up where I am now, right? And tomorrow it may be something else, but I'll still be independent. I still won't have to work for anybody or depend on anybody. Um, but you have to divorce yourself from the outcome, because if you're concerned with the outcome, you'll automatically sabotage yourself. So you have to be divorced from outcome. So it has to be, this is what I want to be, this is what I want to do. But if I don't get there, it's fine. Whatever comes, I'll work with it. And that's the key to making it work. Um, Cisco Guru 69. Tony, how do you pick the right RPM stall converter? Magic 8 Ball or Ouija board. Sometimes I break out the Ouija board and it's, yes, one of the demonic entities there, and they're pretty good with stall speed. Um, but bro, it just It just depends. It just depends on the car. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. It depends on the situation, and and talk to converter people. You know what I mean? Uh, I like when I have an idea, I'll talk to like my friend Shane does converters, right? He just made me a converter that showed up for the propane car, um, which I'm going to do a whole video on that converter and then an update on the car. But I when I have an idea what I want, I bounce it off of him or somebody who knows converters, and with all of the information because to pick out a converter is just like picking a cam. It has every last detail has to be included in that choice. So talk to somebody a lot smarter than me. That's what you do. You talk to somebody a lot smarter than I am. Um, to the toilet and septic. Don't let the fear of failure keep you from doing. See, that's the other thing too. Okay, you have to learn to embrace failure, right? Because failure is just a learning tool, right? Well, okay, so if you're not capable of thought, then failure is failure, right? Oh, I failed. This is bad, right? The car didn't do what I wanted it to do. I'm a loser, right? No, that's that's the wrong attitude. The right attitude is it failed. Now, what did I learn from this failure, and how can I get around it? You know what I mean? Failure, every failure is just another learning, another step to the learning curve. You never would have learned. Yeah, what I tell people is, you never would have learned to walk if you didn't get tired of falling over in your crib, right? Because it was just you just reached that point where I'm just disgusted of falling over. Every time I stand up and try to move, I fall over, and so you learn to balance yourself one foot in front of the other, and then boom, you're walking. You never would have learned to walk if you didn't just get absolutely sick and tired and disgusted of falling over every time you stood up. So that's and you carry that from the cradle to the grave, man. Okay. Mike Sherrill, Tony, can you explain tuning the air bleeds on a quick fuel 750 double pumper? Confused on what the difference in the idle and high speed bleeds. So you've got four air bleeds. The purpose of the air bleed is to bring air into the system to help the atomization through the booster. So you've got two sets of air bleeds. There's two for each. You've got two air bleeds for each barrel of the carburetor, and one of them is for the lower speed for the transition circuit, the idle and transition circuit, and then the other one is for the actual what you're going to pull through the jets. And by increasing and decreasing the size of those, it changes the atomization characteristic through the booster. And that's the ultra simplified version of it. You can find much more detailed information if you just search that topic because it's air bleeds. It's crazy science. Um, Blood battery. What would be the best V8 to build for fuel economy and reliability? Well, bro, that changes all through history. You know what I'm saying? Uh, the LS. Inch for inch, pound for pound, it's the best deal out there. It's the most flexible. It's got the most potential. It's cheapest. It's the most abundant. It's the one that's in use today. So I would say an LS would probably be your best bet to get started with a in the world of V8s. If you want something old school, then I see you got to stick with the Chevy because again, the small block Chevy has just such a huge history and such a huge amount of parts and knowledge available for it that if you're just getting started and you haven't picked your car preferences yet, you're not a Ford guy or a Mopar guy or whatever guy, then it's hard to go wrong with the small block Chevy, either regular, conventional or LS. Shoehorn Jackson, Tony, do you know anything about dragsters from the 60s using brakes and fasteners manufactured for aircraft use? Okay. Yes, actually, I know shoehorn. I know too much about vintage dragsters. I mean, literally, I know too much about vintage dragsters because it's useless knowledge. It's completely useless knowledge today, right? But unfortunately, I know slingshots like the back of my hand. Okay, aircraft fasteners. Yes, those cars were built almost entirely out of World War II surplus because back in the 60s, World War II surplus stores were everywhere on both coasts and everything in between. So all of the hardware was based on that. Now, as far as the brakes go, they were using regular conventional drum brakes, rear drum brakes, until about 1965. 1966, Hurst Earhart, the Hurst started making the Earhart brakes. Were the first. There were little tiny single puck brakes because those cars really didn't need much. They were lightweight cars and they had parachutes. So it was around 1967, 1966, 1967 that they made the transition from drum brakes to the discs. Funny cars went from drums to the discs about a year later, around 1968. 1967, most of the cars were still using drum brakes. Um, here's a so George Hurst with his trivia, right? His crazy 1960s drag racing trivia. So George Hurst, when he bought Earhart brakes, so this would be about, I guess, 1966. I could be wrong. It's going to be right in that range. Petitioned the NHRA, right? Because now he owns this brake company and he's got huge power, right? Like, he's like him and Mickey Thompson were the icons of the industry of the day, right? And he petitioned the NHRA to change drag racing. And what he wanted to do was have a stop sign in the middle of the track. The eighth mile mark was supposed to be a stop sign. So his idea, and I'm telling you, I'm not making this up. Okay, this was George Hurst. This was his thing. He wanted to change the sport so that you left the starting line normally, accelerated, but then you had to stop at the eighth mile and then continue on to the quarter mile. And he did that to promote the brake company. Naturally, the NHRA says, no, we're just not going to do that, right? But that's what he wanted. Remy Kushner, ever thought about building an old school fuel dragster on the channel, 392 Hemi type stuff? Bro, I have shown pictures of my 392 Hemi powered slingshot dragster, my nostalgia top fuel car. Am I going to do it? No. There's absolutely less than zero chance of me build. Okay, so I draw the line on this channel. I draw the line at anything that needs more than a 6-point roll bar. If it needs more than a 6-point roll bar, if that has to be that's the maximum as far as I'll go on this channel for a performance build. Now, that's not to say I wouldn't get involved in somebody else's car or somebody else's build, right? If somebody had a top fuel car and they were like, come on, come for a couple of races and screw around, I would. But on this channel, no, those days are behind me, and I am never going back to them. Let's see. Dr. Art, what is happening, Dr. Art? How's the death cart going, man? Okay, you're gonna finish the steering on the drag cart. Okay. Call me tomorrow. Text me tomorrow if you got it running. I don't know what happened to Kiwi. I'm starting to worry about Kiwi. Let me see here. Oh, looks like I got a text. Okay. Oh, okay. Kiwi's just running late. Okay. I'm back. Did you miss me? Fubar, thank you for putting up the link to our merch. So our fancy T-shirts, our hats, we have stickers. I think we still have stickers. I don't even know what we have. We have stuff. Kathy handles all that stuff. I have no idea. But Fubar puts up the link, and Kathy does the merch, and I just sit here and talk to cameras. But thank you. Okay. Let's see. Zeriel. Hey, Tony, we're removing the EGR system from my 73 351 Cleveland cause engine ping. Shouldn't. No, it shouldn't. You should be fine. Kiwi must be getting his eyebrows done. Yeah, that's a good possibility. Charlotte Quinn, they advertised AC Cobra would do 0 to 100 to 0 in 12 seconds. I think it was faster than that, though, actually, bro. I think it was quicker, 0 to 100 to 0 in 12 seconds. It might have actually been quicker than that, but I don't know. I'll take your word for it. Stingray 1975. Uncle Tony, what do you think of the old Dodge Darts that look just like Dusters? Well, those were called Demons in 1970, 71, and 72. And 73, to change the name of that to Dart Sport. Yeah. I mean, I prefer, I like the Plymouth bodied version of it, the Duster, better. To me, the Dodge, putting it, because all it is what that is that's a Dodge Dart nose. Oh, Kathy's saying we have all this stuff. It's a Dodge Dart nose of whatever year, Dart you're talking about, Dart Sport or Demon, on a Demon body. It's just, to me, it's just wrong. It just doesn't. It's not the same. Wayne Buzzle, Tony, do you have any experience with Lifan or other Chinese bikes, the Chandas? Yeah, give me a second. What I had for like a couple of weeks, I had a Lifan powered sport bike that somebody had given to me. This is, it was a 250. It was a little 250. I don't remember what it's called. It was gray, like silver gray, and it had a Lifan 250 in it. And I had this thing for a couple of weeks. Like somebody gave it to me. It was in their shed, and they were like, "You want this thing? Get it out of here." So they gave it to me, and I put a battery in it, and I was gonna flip it. I ended up flipping it, but I rode it for like 2 weeks, and I thought it was pretty good, to tell you the truth. For what it was. It was a little 250. It looked like a 600, right? Actually, you know what? I'll tell you what it looked a lot like. It looked like a 750 Gixxer, right? Like at a quick glance, it looked like a Gixxer, right? But it was a fun little bike, and it ran really good for what it was. It ran really good. That was my only hands-on Lifan experience. But I mean, they do good stuff. Uh-oh, I hear the footsteps of Kiwi. Oh, there he is.
The flipper sticks.
Oh my God. Did you get the pedicure done? Because they were. But don't show us.
Declawed.
Yeah, don't show us. Look, I kept your seat there. I sat off to the side because I knew you were coming.
There.
Yeah.
Hey guys, finally here. Sorry about that.
He made it. Kinsley, thank you for the super chat, man. 3,300-pound Camaro, 4.6 small block Chevy, 600 horsepower, drag racing. Thought on Muncie 4-speed, strong enough for launches. I'm not going automatic. So, I mean,
hey Tavo,
the transmission is up to it. You're going to break everything else in the loop.
And Mexican spec, hi. Olam Drab, hi. Oh, well, they're all saying hi. Hey guys.
Yeah.
Nick Bruni.
Drive shafts, U-joints, axles, all that fun stuff. You know what I mean? All that fun stuff is gonna give you trouble as you go along. But
so the Muncie's pretty strong, like given today's horsepower.
Oh yeah.
Like back when Muncie was state of the art, like in the 70s or 80s, we weren't throwing much more than 300, 400 horsepower at it.
Yeah, but think about it. It was intended. It's like everything in the day was built with the idea if it's a 5-passenger car that you're going to have 5 passengers in it and all of the stuff in the trunk, and you're going to go around power shifting on cobblestone streets, and that's why they built everything the way they did back then. You know what I mean? So
okay, fair enough. Yeah, I just wondered how they do, because our horsepower numbers have gone up like exponentially. Like now 300 horsepower is like.
Yeah, I know. My lawnmower has 300 horsepower. I know all about it. Gypsy J Rides, update on Kiwi's Mopar Hemi project.
No update. No update.
Dude, you look very gangster with the fucking
the beanie. I'm just trying to hide the big fucking bandage I got on my head.
Yeah, well,
it was really too bad. I'm not cold. I got a nice warm head. But yeah.
Yeah, he had major brain surgery a couple of days ago.
Yeah. That's why I was wearing a beanie last week. I had a big melanoma taken out of a dome here, and I look like I'm wearing a yarmulke with a bandage on.
Nice.
Is it a yarmulke?
Shalom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
shalom.
Yeah, wear your hat. Don't go out in the sun without a hat, guys, because it'll catch up with you one day. Charlotte Cullen, g'day.
Glenn Nicholson, you look like an extra Kiwi on the waterfront. An extra from
Kiwis live in an upside down world till he enters Tony's workshop. Yeah.
I don't know how they don't fall off the raft.
Yeah, it's a struggle. Brain surgery. How much was this? Oh, Tavo, that's mean, but funny, but mean.
That's bad when you're.
How much was the search fees for looking for my brain? Like, really? More than you'd think, or more than I thought. Kiwi, need more hats then. Yes, more hats.
You need a UTG hat.
Baseball caps don't fit me.
Unless you have a giant
I
head.
do got a huge head.
You have a huge head, yes.
Afraid so. Yeah. Had my head examined and the test showed nothing. No,
Look
nothing.
at the size of it.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a big old.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey, Kiwi, do you know Kiwi Motors in Newhall, California? No, I don't.
I thought all you Kiwis were related. You're all cousins.
Your cousins? This is not West Virginia, you know. No, I do. I know a guy, a Kiwi guy over in California that does Indian motorcycles, and we have a similar business name. But yeah.
Blood Battery, Tony, do you know Rip Roaring Garage? He's talked about you in his videos before. He's also a good friend of mine. I've never heard. Yeah, no, I have not heard of him. Just keep them busy for a minute. Let me look up Rip Roaring Garage.
Kiwi, where is Old Zealand? There is an Old Zealand. Actually, we've been down this road. There is an Old Zealand over in Europe somewhere. That's how much I know. Somewhere in Europe. That doesn't really narrow it. Pardon me. Doesn't really narrow it down that much, I guess. But hey, there is an Old Zealand. But you don't Google it. That's the only way I'd be able to tell you is if I Googled it.
Actually,
CJ Westphal, is that link legit for Kiwi content? Yeah, that's who put that up? Was that Ari that just given my shit away?
I just watched a thing last night about the history of that area, and that Australia was originally called New Holland.
I think that's right. Yeah.
And that the guy who discovered Tasmania, okay, his last name was Tasman.
Abel Tasman?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was Tasmania. And then they wanted him to go. They wanted him to go look at New Zealand, and he was like, "Nah, I'm just gonna stay here."
But I found that.
Okay.
Old Zealand was Dutch. Probably right.
Yeah. So I'll check out. I've got him right here. I'm gonna check him out. Rip Roaring Garage. Okay. Let's see. Where were we?
Where is the difference between diesel and petrol engines when you consider torque? Yeah, that's diesels always have a lot more torque, but that's a lot to do with the compression ratios and how much fuel and how slow it burns.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
There's a bunch of factors in there, but
diesel makes power because it burns much slower than gasoline, so you get more degrees of crankshaft rotation under power.
Yeah. And they're typically a lot longer stroke, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, to make use of that slow burn. And that's another reason they don't rev hard. They do make high-speed diesels, but they're designed like from the ground up, as it were, to be a high-speed diesel that'll pull 4,500, 5,000 RPMs. But most of your Cummins type diesels, it's all over by 2,500.
So let's see, what was that? Stray built 3393. Diesel engines have a much higher compression ratio. Yeah, but that's not where the power comes from. The compression ratio on a diesel is just for ignition purposes. You have to squeeze it tight enough to light it. So that's why they have such high compression ratios, but that's not where the power comes from on them.
Greasy Garage. Hey, Kiwi, have you worked on putting a V8 in a Model A Ford? No, I haven't.
Why? I figured that's what you were doing. When you didn't show up here, I said, "You've got to be putting a V8 in a Model A."
I really have had very little hands-on experience with like the 30s and 40s cars.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, it's
Same
just
here.
Yeah, not to say I wouldn't want to, but they just don't come across my doorstep, as it were. I think the hottest car I had at work, which was probably a year ago, was like a 33 Plymouth. And I got another customer with a 1940 Ford, but that's all later model mechanicals anyway. It's not, it's a 40 Ford body, but it's all small block Chev and 9-inch diff and all that. So I don't have a lot of them. Probably not the right guy to bring your 32 Ford to. There's guys out there that's all they do. Yeah.
So Zero, the amazing Zero, just put up the link to Kiwi's channel. So if you haven't already gone over there and subbed to Kiwi's channel, there's the link. Zero just put it there.
Thank you, Zero.
Freaking awesome, isn't he?
He is great. He's awesome.
We need to we got to do something for Zero. Well,
What
actually,
what are
we
you
do this up to
thinking?
all of our mods. Every year I send them stuff for Christmas. I send them like steaks and stuff like that.
Right,
You know. So
just in a nice warm package.
yeah, we have to. Yeah.
What would be cool would be to get everyone together, like
But they're all the way out in wherever.
Yeah, I know they're all like the mountain's going to have to come to Muhammad
You know what would be
because
great?
Muhammad won't fly.
You know, I just thought of this. Why don't we do a StreamYard live one night with Ari, Fubar, and Zero and Kiwi and I? Let's do
Like that
let's
shared screen deal.
let's do it for the Thanksgiving weekend,
There you go.
right? Guys, what do you think of that? Thanksgiving weekend, like you pick the night. No, obviously not Thanksgiving night because we'll have the family over, but Friday or Saturday night. Let's all get together and do a StreamYard. We've never actually been together on camera. And you guys have been around for years.
Yeah, put a face to the name and all that. Shoehorn Jackson, Kiwi. Errol Flynn is from Battery Point, Tasmania. I didn't know that.
All right, Kat. Hey, Kat, if you're watching this at the house, make a note of this, right? Let's get everybody organized. Let's do this. I really want to do this.
No, I've never been to Tasmania. I've been to quite, most of Australia, but not Tasmania.
All right.
Around Wayne Buzzell, a round robin.
In cahoots with Christ wants to know what that's a name. What is Kiwi giving new subs this week? I never got my pony. You didn't get the pony?
We said the
Dude,
pony.
you didn't send
We
him the
said
pony?
We wrapped it in bubble wrap though. I wonder if it survived.
Dude, I mean, seriously.
Uh,
Rusty Fuel, thank you for the super chat. Do I have a running 273 you're trying to sell? I do not.
No, not 273.
Uh,
318s out the wazoo, but yeah.
Glenn Nickerson, I want you to bring on Nipplehead. You referring to him as Nipplehead?
Really? Surely not.
No, I had a guy that I knew when we were kids, had a 71 Challenger, 3 car. We used to call him Nipplehead because he used to wear hats like that, but it had the thing on the top and it looked like a nipple. His head looked like a nipple. Oh, and Kathy says, I left the room. I didn't hear you. Okay, for the Thanksgiving, or sometime over the Thanksgiving weekend, Friday or Saturday night, I want to get together and do a live stream with all of the mods because we've never done this before. I don't know how we've never done this before, but yeah, Ari, Fubar, and Zero, and Kiwi will jump on there too. We'll set up a StreamYard thing. So, Kat, just work out the logistics and figure out when everybody can get together and count me in.
He wants you to have your people call his people,
yes,
so that we can.
Yes, my person.
That's what
my person.
That's what personal assistants do.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll have my PA get in touch with Kathy.
Yes.
As soon as I get one.
Okay. Eric wants to know, is Steve Magnanti doing okay? I haven't heard anything. No news is generally good news in that situation. So,
who was that? Sir Crash a lot. Kiwi, do you do plugs on an EcoBoost F-150? No, I do not.
What was that now?
Do you do plugs on an EcoBoost F-150?
Why not? Slacker.
I don't work on cars that later model.
Oh, makes sense.
And I'm not honestly not sure on the EcoBoost, but if it's anything like the the 4.6s and stuff in the F-150s, you'll take the damn cab off the truck to change the plugs. You can do it if you're sort of ambidextrous and very flexible, and do them in place. But no, that's not my thing. Like, you can take it to the Ford dealer and pay what you got to pay and get the plugs changed every 100,000 miles.
It's obscene.
Be done with it.
Z Peak, why do the factory exhaust manifolds on a factory 440 flow upwards? Okay, on a HP motor, right? So you've got the regular log manifolds, which are log manifolds, and you've got the HP manifolds. And the HP manifolds are different from side to side. So the passenger side has a slight upsweep to it, and that's just to smooth the transition into the other. It's step up from the log. On the driver's side, it comes way up, and it looks very exotic. But the reason for that is to clear the power steering. the power steering box and all of that. So that's why those manifolds on the driver's side come. It's just this crazy looking manifold, but it's the same thing on the small blocks. They did the same thing on the small blocks. The HP manifolds on the small blocks come way up on the driver's side. It's only to clear the power steering box.
Uncle Tony, how many miles does a 69 Chevy 350 typically last for? That's a loaded question, isn't it?
What is it now?
This one here. How many miles can you expect out of a 69 350 Chevy?
Oh, jeez.
It depends. There's a lot of factors.
Yeah.
How often do you maintain it? You know, changing the oil and filter and stuff like that. That makes a huge difference. How they're used. If it's spent the last 50 years constantly running to the store and back, not that long.
Yeah, but if it's been constantly running, period.
If it drives to New York and back once a week, it'll do 500,000 miles.
There are engines, and this is like no lie. There are engines that have been running for decades, right? Powering all different types of stuff, right? And they run literally for decades because once they reach that operating speed and operating temperature, nothing changes. There's no heating and cooling. There's no, you see what I'm saying? So it just depends on how the thing is used.
Because I think it's something like 80% of the wear in an engine occurs when it's cold.
Yeah.
On startup when it's cold.
Yep.
That's why, like taxis, and it doesn't matter if it's a Ford taxi or a Chevy taxi or whatever they would use them for taxis, checker cabs, doesn't matter. They ran
500,000 miles
They never turned them off.
Right.
Like someone would do an 8-hour shift, they'd step out of the car, the next driver would step in, and they would just keep going.
Yep.
So yeah, they lasted a phenomenally out of time. The only time they really turned them off was to change the oil. And just general servicing. So they lasted hugely, but.
And when the cops searched the trunk.
Yeah.
Ask me how I know. All right. You got to hit the blue button.
I got to hit the blue button. Mean Machine Mania. Any idea how much horsepower those early 60s junior fuel small block Chevs were pushing out on 20% nitro, I assume?
Oh, they weren't running 20%. They were running the can, the lid, the label, everything. Yeah. So they weren't, okay, so junior fuel didn't happen until 1967. 1967, that was a class that was originated at Lyons. And this was for injected, normally aspirated small block Chevys. Heads up, like junior fuel. It was just an unblown small cubic inch version of top fuel. And they had a 305 cubic inch limit on those. And how much power were they making? I don't know. But I can tell you that the cars all weighed around 1,200 pounds on the starting line. So it's a car, engine, driver, everything else. And they regularly ran mile an hour in the 195 to 200 mile an hour range. The fastest of them was Gene Adams' DeSoto. And this was in 1970. And they ran 206 miles an hour with a 280-inch DeSoto unblowed on nitro. So you could figure that one out. That was one of the coolest classes ever in the history of the sport.
Dean Stevenson, believe me, Kiwi, it matters. Fords and Chevys are Plymouth Furies. Geez. Or Plymouth Furies. Geez, do I have a job to do at Zero's job? Not sure what you mean.
I have to go back to the junior fuel thing.
Oh, okay.
Because something just popped into my head, right? Because they were asking about power. All right. So we know that these cars were running in the 190, 200 mile an hour range in that period of time. So there was an article in Drag Racing USA magazine right around 1868, and it was a profile on the IGE brothers. They were Japanese, so I'm probably murdering the name, but it was the Japanese brothers, and they had a small block Chevy, a 305-inch Chevy, and the name of the article the title of the article was "How Stock Is My Fueler," right? So they went through they tore this motor apart and went through every bit of it, okay? And it was all stock. This thing was like all stock. It had different pistons in it. It had like Giant's pistons. It had a cam in it. It had stock heads that were ported. It had over-the-counter valve springs. It had stock connecting rods, stock crankshaft, all stock bearings, all stock, everything was all stock. And the failure point that they had with it, the consistent failure point that they had with it, was that they were still using cartridge style oil filters. And the cartridge said AC Delco on it in ink. And they had a problem where the nitro, the nitro diluted oil would wash the ink off of the cartridge, and the ink would get caught up in things. And so that, okay, that Junior Fuel, I'm sorry, I just went off completely on this, down the memory hole on something that's completely irrelevant. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're having a flashback there.
Mm-hmm.
Cordell B, Kiwi, do you frown upon airbag suspension? Yeah, I guess I'd have to say, yeah, I do. I'm not. I just don't think it's used really correctly. And again, that's an opinion. Like a lot of the guys that have it want to be able to drop the rockers on the ground.
Yeah, I don't get that.
And then blow it up. And the only problem with that is that you end up with a very, very hard ride and a very bouncy ride once you're actually driving it. And for me personally, I want the car to be good when I'm sat on it driving it.
Yeah.
And of course I want it to look nice as well, because you wouldn't be a hot rodder if you didn't want it to look, they have people go, ooh, and whether it's the high end stuff or the rat roddy stuff, like you want a reaction from the people that then they like it. But yeah, for me, it needs to ride, at a comfortable point for myself. And I like a car to handle and go around corners and stop and just not be bouncing around the place. I've got a customer who's got a 59 El Camino that's on airbags, and it's a hard riding car. Like, unless it's really low. Like if you drop it down to a comfortable PSI in the bags, it's too close to the ground. So yeah, it's just it's not my thing.
Yeah, I don't want an active suspension of any sort in any of my cars. But to each his own. Some people, they value that.
Tavo, really? Tavo just saw 2 XB Falcon Utes for sale here, $3.5K for the pair. Wow, how bad were they? At $3.5 grand for the pair.
Facebook Marketplace. This popped up today, right? So if any of you guys, you're in the market, you want to, I got an incredibly sweet deal. There were 2 51 Chrysler New Yorkers. One of them is complete, has a Hemi in it and everything, right? Complete cars with parts. One of them is filled with parts. The guy wants $850 for both cars.
Jeez.
Or they go into the scrapyard. This was literally into. I'm going to find it, just in case anybody here wants to pursue it.
Yeah, Tavo. Yeah, you have to point me in the direction of those Falcons. I do want another Ute. So, and I've always said I wanted to bring an Aussie, car here just to kind of back up the whole Kiwi thing over this side of the ocean. So yeah, let me know on that. I mean, I know shipping will be high, but it's worth looking at. Stingray 75 Kiwi, tell us about 70s Australian muscle cars. Well, that was really the 70s. That was really the era of the Ford Falcons and like Holden Tiranas through the 70s. The Mopars. Right, they came along a little bit later into the muscle car territory anyway. But yeah, the GT Falcons were just awesome, and yeah, genuine muscle cars that would have hung with any of the American muscle cars, to be, or not, maybe not any. I shouldn't say that, because you got Boss 429s and stuff like that, which they never got those big engines in Australia. But the 351s was really, the 351 Cleveland was really as big as they made. But they threw a lot of engineering at them, and they were fast. They were genuinely fast. And then some of the Mopars, when you got into the Valiant Chargers and stuff like that, that had the triple side draft Webers on the 265 Hemi straight 6, those things were genuinely fast. They're a fast car today. But yeah, you could ramble on for a long time about the different ones, but one thing you can do, like if you're interested in that old stuff, is look up old like footage on YouTube of early Australian touring cars, and that's where you'll see the Aussie muscle cars, because the factory were really heavily involved in racing, and you know, supported it and built these cars with a mind to get them getting raced. So yeah, YouTube early Australian touring cars, and yeah, you'll have hours of entertainment.
All right, those Chryslers must have been sold. The price was just like too good to believe. So they're probably gone because I just checked Marketplace and
Gone.
they're gone.
Mm.
Let's go back to this real quick. Schuern Jackson, Gene Adams raced Junior Fuel for 3 years. The only race he remembers losing occurred when a throttle link broke. The engine was a 55 DeSoto 291 block with 56 341 heads. Yeah, I talked to Gene about that. And Don Enriquez, you know, I got to get together with this guy. Don Enriquez works for Holly now, literally right up the road over here. Don Enriquez lives in Bowling Green, Kentucky now. So, okay, yeah.
All right, let's hit the button. Hit the button. Where are we up to?
Uh-oh.
At 0. Our Aussie Mopar also torsion bars. Yes, yeah, they had torsion bar suspension as well. Yeah, they really just picked up, you know, and just tweaked to the Australian market the American Mopar. Yeah, tweaking's probably a little bit. You know, they did change them up quite a bit, but like the basic underpinnings were as per the American stuff. But they played with wheelbases and bodies, you know, styles and a lot of different sheet metal.
Just couldn't leave well enough alone.
No, well, they're just making it their own, you know. The Australians were very proud of their automotive, you know, industry.
Exceedingly proud of it.
Yeah,
yeah, I know.
And that's certainly reflected in the prices today. It's like, oh my gosh, if you think cars are expensive here, try buying an Australian muscle car. Wow.
Uh-oh.
Don Bell at 351 Cleveland was an awesome motor. Yeah, it was. Would love to find one to put in my 67 Cougar. Yeah, just put a Coyote motor in it, mate. And be done with
it. That's so complicated. That's well, such a. Yeah, you're leading this guy down a bad path. He wants a simple old school 351 Cleveland.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty good option. And they're out there. They're out there. They're in just some of the more slightly offbeat Fords that are around. You know, they come with the 351s.
They pop up. They do pop up in odd places.
Yeah. Like I've been looking at Ranchero Utes, like that 72 to 75, and yeah, they have anything from 302s to 400s, 351 Clevelands, 429s. They're all over the place, but quite a few of those, and the regular, you know, the Torinos, which were the sedans, and some of the Fairlanes of the 70s had 351s that seemed to be like what they had a little bit extra of. Let's put that in there.
Yeah, they pop up on like low performance odd applications.
Yeah,
you look at it and you say, why would they do that? You know, these beautiful cylinder heads. Why would you strangle it under all of this shit and a 2-barrel carburetor and stick it in a?
Yeah, I've got a 78 F100 Ranger and it works like right now, and that's got the 351 Cleveland in it. Little tiny 2-barrel on it. And,
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Ford did weird stuff, man. They did weird stuff. Oh, you gotta hit the button.
The button again.
The blue button. It's blue button time with Kiwi.
Mean Machine Mania. 351C is the way to go for Ford horsepower. Found a free block in the dirt at a local track. Just needs a sleeve. Just look at reports on those beautiful heads. Yeah, the funny thing, the 2V heads actually, they say, make more power than the 4V heads. They went a bit big on the 4V heads.
Okay, did you know about Chevy Vegas being shipped by train standing up vertically? Yeah. Actually, there were some features of the car that were built into the car specifically so that it could be transported standing up.
Really?
They called it a Vertipack. And they had railroad cars. They made railroad cars specifically so that when they shipped the Vegas, they'd ship them all standing up like this because you can get that many more onto a railroad car.
Huh.
Yeah, Vertipack shipping. I know too much trivia, too much weird shit.
I know they do that shipping cars to Australia. They'll get a 40-foot or New Zealand. Over here they'll get a 40-foot container and you put the first car in and then you drive up and they winch it up and they kind of like piggyback them without them actually touching. So that way you can get 3 cars in a 40-foot length I like overlapping them. Antonio, what about E49? 6 seconds to 10 kilometers. Great little moped. I'm assuming you mean 100, or you're being a smart ass. But hey, no, the E49 was a quick car. Was a quick car.
Joe K is saying I didn't know Gene made a video. I'm gonna have to watch that. The car that's really fascinating is the Double Eagle. I studied that car like extensively, because I thought that had a lot of potential, and they just let it go. But I learned a lot about the characteristics of nitro by studying that car, specifically that car, and all of the different things that they tried with it. So maybe I'll do a whole video on that at some point. The Double Eagle, very interesting car.
Blue Smoke just bought a 78 Buick Park Avenue. Yay or nay? Definitely yay.
Yeah.
Yay, absolutely.
Yeah, riding luxury, my brother.
Oh yeah, huge. Like it's like the rival of the Battlestar Galactica, isn't it? Like,
oh, well, that's where the pillow seats started.
Yeah,
we were talking about that.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of almost compulsory to have a couple of working girls in the back, like when you're driving around one.
Right.
Pimp mobile, yeah. What else have we got?
Uncle Kathy asked what length your box truck is.
Didn't see that one. How long? What's the length of your box truck?
Oh, the carry van. I'm gonna sell that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It hasn't moved in 2 years.
Yeah, well, that's too long.
Yeah, too long. So that's got to go. I don't know. I think it's like a 12-foot. I'm not sure.
Dean Stevenson, yeah, like that's good info you're giving us here on the Cleveland and 2B and 4B. But that's what a 302, a Boss 302 is. A 302 with the Cleveland heads on.
Right.
It was a great package. They knew that way back then. And then the Edelbrock now bring out a head and intake manifold kit to make your Windsor a Cleveland. And I built a 67 Mustang that had the stroked out 351 out to 408, and that had the Cleveland. They called that a Cleveland. It had the Edelbrock Cleveland heads on it. Great conversion. The thing, like it hauled the mail. It went really well. Like to the point the owner was scared of it.
Yeah. Well, the consensus back in the day was that back when like that was the thing when they were running small engines in pro stock. The consensus was that the 351 Cleveland, and this was I forget where this came up. It was in Carcraft magazine about that era, 76, 77. That inch pound for pound, the 351 Cleveland was it. The normally aspirated best combination there was, and for a while it owned pro stock when they were running in that 350, 375 cubic inch range or thereabouts. So I mean, Bob Glidden owned and Nicholson owned pro stock with the Clevelands. And who are the other one? Oh, Gap and Roush.
Tavo, I got the green light from the missus. Like,
what happened now?
Oh, those 2 Falcon Utes he was talking about.
Okay.
For sale. She says, buy them. Like, okay, you don't have to ask me twice.
Well, there you go.
We'll figure out the shipping later. Okay. Cool.
She's always watching and calling the shots from the darkness in the back, in the dark, in the quiet.
Yeah.
She points and just runs things.
The quiet ones you have to watch out for.
Hit the blue button.
Hit the blue button. So yeah, call me, Tavo, or email me, or message me, or something. My dad outran the police with his 351 Cleveland. There you go.
Kathy's saying, wait, what? I have no idea what you're talking about, babe.
How widespread your box truck? Not my thing, but can you show us the box truck? They want to see your box truck. It's perfectly good truck, but
she's answering 35 messages.
Jeez. I'm
calling you, Kat.
Rick Shop. I have a 351 Cleveland in the shed that will end up in a car at some point. Nice. You have to make sure you replace the 2-piece valves. Yeah.
There's
Olam Drab. Who better for Falcon Utes here? Yeah. Right. I love the XB Falcon shape too. It's a cool shape. I had an XB Falcon panel.
Oh,
van.
hang on. I
That
gotta
was
put you
cool.
on speakerphone because we're on live.
Ah,
Where is it? There it is.
I'm gonna have to shut you off.
Okay. You're
hey,
you're
Kathy, how you
you're on
doing?
speakerphone, babe. So what are
Alright,
you
I'm gonna
saying?
shut you off. Hang on. It's not in the living room and it's on.
Oh, it's
Okay.
echoing around. What was that?
Alright, what's up?
I don't know. You said you got 65 messages you're answering.
35. 35.
You
That's
have
inflation.
35
That's inflation.
Where'd you get 35 messages from?
35 people have messaged me
Oh, have you been swiping right again, Kathy?
on
Huh?
the van. What?
Have you been swiping right again, Kathy?
Swapping what?
Right. It's a
Swiping right.
it's a thing these people do. It's not good. It's not good.
It's not good?
No. So
Okay.
Mm. Those who know.
all right. Make this entertaining, babe.
What do you want me to do?
I don't know. We're on
I
live.
don't know what to do with these people. They're like, when can I come see it?
Tomorrow morning.
They're like, I want it.
Oh,
Like
good,
all
good.
35 of them. So I don't know what to do.
All right. I don't know. Tell them to come tomorrow morning.
First in, first serve.
Yeah. First come,
What
first
Have you
serve.
got the box truck advertised or something?
I got it on a cheap like $1,200 on Marketplace.
Well, there you go. That'll be sold. First in,
I
first serve.
installed for Joe K-Sex. I think you listed it too cheap.
I might have. I just want it gone. I just want it gone. I don't care about the money. I don't care about money anymore. I've just got to that point.
Oh, very nice. You don't care about money.
I really don't. It's becoming a burden.
It's a burden.
What do we
No.
do with all this extra cash? I don't know.
Oh my goodness, Tony.
All right.
Chris
Use
Freeman.
the box truck to move the shop, Olive says. Yeah, well, that's what we were planning on doing, but Tony was like, it's gotta go.
I got 3 XJs and a giant trailer. I don't really need the box truck anymore. All right. So
So what time should I tell him to come?
I'll be here after I go to the chiropractor. So I'll be here about 9:30.
10 o'clock, I'll say.
Yeah, 10 o'clock.
In cahoots.
Okay.
Is Kiwi on Tinder? No, Kiwi's not on Tinder.
All right. Do you want to sing a goodbye?
Mrs. Kiwi's watching. What do you expect me to say?
Do you want to sing a goodbye song to the people?
No, I don't sing.
Oh, stop it now.
So
Chris
what?
Freemesser wants to know if you're taking the piss.
No.
She's not. No, Chris. She's not taking the piss.
What?
It's a Kiwi thing that they say. It's how they say like I love you or some shit like that. I don't know.
I want you to know I was answering messages, right?
Yeah.
About the box truck, and I'm listening to you guys on the computer, and the dogs are going crazy because I gave like Winnie has a bone and like the other guys had a bone, but they ate theirs, and I started yelling at them with like an Australian or a New Zealand accent.
So you were taking the piss with the dogs.
Yes.
I guess I was.
There you go. All right.
I'm watching too much Show on the Sheep, man, and listening to Kiwi. I don't know.
Well,
sure.
there's a few sheep jokes and Kiwis and things. Yeah, it's not good.
All right.
It's not good.
All right, babe. I'm hanging up on you. Bye.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Okay.
Mexican Spec had a 351 Cleveland and 72 Cougar convertible, 3-speed manual. That'd be a nice car. 4-speed be better, but 3 speeds. They're more than talky enough to pull a 3-speed along. So that would have been a cool car. Taking the piss is razzing on you. Well, that's another way of putting it. Yep, absolutely. Mean Machine, new dating service for UTG fans called Uncler.
STP, stop taking the piss. All right. Ballast Resistor Garage. What about the Bob Glidden Arrow being restored? I didn't know that it was. That was a neat car. Uh-oh. That's it. We're done.
We're done. No,
okay.
They're back.
Ah.
Virtual at the Wharf. Anyone want rowboats between 18 and 26 foot long? Yeah, no, I have to say I don't have that on my shopping list. No.
Yeah. See, if you had a 16-footer, I'd be all over it. You couldn't keep me away. You could not keep me away. I would abandon everything I got going on here right now.
That is taking the piss.
Is it?
Yes.
I'm just taking the piss. I just took the piss. Go figure. J Yeager 2881, is any truth to the trope from Shirley Muldowney? Okay, I'm not even going to repeat that, but no, that was not. That's the oldest. That goes back to that's every town that had a cruising scene had the Corvette that was driven, or the whatever, fill in the blank, was driven by the girl, and that's what it said on the back. No, that's all nonsense. As far as Shirley goes, she's not a pleasant person. She really is not.
Who you talking about?
Shirley Muldowney.
Oh, Shirley Muldowney.
Cha. She had a nickname. She had a nickname that I can never repeat on the air.
Oh, really?
That
Okay.
yes, she was known as. Does
So
anybody
you'll tell me later?
has? Okay, so I'm not gonna say it. Like I can't, because I really can't say it. Okay, but if anybody who has any let's say at track experience with Shirley, do you know her nickname? What she was known okay, example. No, I can't even use that one. Never mind all that. Does anybody know Shirley's nickname amongst her peers at the track?
No. Tava, yes. Actually, Mrs. Kiwi relayed it on to me. They've sold those Falcon Utes. That's a shame. But hey, that would be right up my alley if it was, restorable condition, and yeah, I would be interested in that.
One relating to Olive? No. You mean Cha Cha? No. That was not it. It was not. It was nothing that I could repeat on. Nothing I could repeat on here.
Virtual at the wharf retracted his message. Oh, I wonder what he said. In cahoots. He's a Kuma short of a hungy. There's not many people are going to know what the heck that means.
What was that now?
Where's it gone? Here we go. In cahoots with Christ. He's a Kuma short of a hungy.
I knew that.
You knew that?
That's
kind of similar to you're a sandwich short of a picnic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, me?
No. Well, I'm not sure who he's referring
trauma.
to. I would assume you, but
a lot of trauma.
It might have been me.
Mike N. Okay, Mike N. That's part of it. But there's another word that goes in front of that, having to do with the weather. Okay.
Okay. You're going far enough down that road. Mexicans speak everything is restorable. Well, that's true, but I guess what I mean is just not too wildly expensive to restore. Because I'm sure a rear, fenders and doors and stuff like that. Well, I bet they're available aftermarket, but I bet they're a lot more than a Mustang.
Paul Cavazzoli, you were there, huh? Yeah. Okay, move on.
Potato. Yeah. Juice ball, folks. Olim Drab, here's me thanking the gods I'm not straight, by the way. Okay. Connie and Shirley unplugged. Ballast resistor garage.
Yeah, I want to get away from this whole topic. I want to get away from this whole thing.
Petulant in the water. Sorry, lads, I suck at spelling. Yes, a little bit. But we can kind of figure it out for the most part. So, you're good. Sir Crashalot, like DDD Speed Shop says, you can rebuild it as long as you lower your standards. Well, yep.
I said the same thing. I said, yeah, just keep dropping your standards and you'll be completely satisfied. It's not important. You see, you don't really lower your standards. You keep raising your standards, and I keep climbing down lower. I keep dropping them.
Oh dear.
We're on opposite trajectories.
Ascending and descending trajectories.
At this point, I barely qualify to be your customer.
Hey, your money's still the same color, so it's all good. Caleb Parker, 318 4-speed Duster, want to 440 swap. That's pretty doable, isn't it?
Yeah, but stick with the small block. You'd be much happier overall just keeping the small block on the thing.
Yeah, he's kind of right, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of work to get.
Charlie,
The big block goes in, but it's a lot of work, and you can get comparable power out of a small block, a stroked one.
See Roma, that's Charlie. He had a 440 Duster eons ago. He's an old friend of mine.
No, okay. So what's your take on it, Roma?
He's
do
saying
it
yes.
or not do it?
He's saying good.
Oh, yes, 440
and
Duster. Would have helped if I read the message, wouldn't it? See just his name.
Just the name. You stopped at the name. You
You got to keep moving on. Ever had dealings with the Maggie overhead cam nitro engine?
McGee?
McGee?
No.
McGee? Yep. Okay.
I remember they had head gasket issues. Those things were always spewing head gaskets. But I have no experience with them other than watching a few of them run.
Yeah, what did I miss on from Tavo? Tavo said, shame the Utes sold. Could have stashed some barrows in the back. Yes. And one under the hood. Exactly. Yeah. That would be awesome. Something else will come up, man. Something else will come up. Stray bullet. I'm already at the bottom though. He's finished descending. He has hit rock bottom. Tony, have you noticed cooling improvement with the aluminium radiator, although not stock?
No, the car doesn't have any cooling issues to begin with. I couldn't imagine that it would make any difference. Given that it doesn't have any type of, it doesn't tend to run even warm, to tell you the truth.
The radiator people I've spoken with will universally tell me that the copper brass radiators cool better than an aluminum radiator.
I believe that.
Yeah, and I do too. I believe that. That's kind of been my experience. The aluminum radiators kind of look good, and they're much cheaper to produce. I just bought a radiator
today. $100 for a lot of the applications.
Yeah, I just bought one today for a 67 Oldsmobile, a 4-core one, which is what the AC cars came with, and that was $918.
That's expensive.
It's a copper brass one.
Oh, okay. There's a couple of aluminum.
Aluminum, about a third of that.
I would think even less than that.
Because the common
ones are dirt cheap.
Yeah. Like the eBay stuff is like Champion radiators and stuff, they're really cheap.
But they're all made by the same Vietnamese schoolgirls.
But yeah, copper, but they're a lot heavier too, which is why you see aluminum radiators in race cars, because they're light.
But this particular car has fender well headers, and everything is so wide open that just the motor the heat just radiates away from the motor, and it stays cool.
Most of the old parts. Welcome along.
What's happening, Ron?
Robert's Vintage Tractors. I lowered my standards and bought a 64 Dodge Dart GT. Ooh, that's fighting talk.
Welcome to the gutter.
Tony loves those.
Welcome to the gutter.
Welcome to the gutter. Rob Morris. Dodge had a square motor for the drag racing in the same bore and stroke. Some of the best.
I'm not sure what he's talking about.
Okay. Like a square, like same length stroke as bore size. I don't know whether Dodge had that or not.
Juice box UTG, from the cars you've owned, which is the one that got away? My 72 Roadrunner 400 4-speed is the one car that I really regret getting rid of, and that was literally 40 years ago. That's the one car I regret getting rid of. I do miss that car, but the rest of them they just come and go.
Yeah, for me it was a 73 XB Falcon GS Falcon panel van, which is had the big back on them.
You just stop at GS?
Yeah.
Because it goes
73 Ford Falcon GS 351 4-speed.
Okay, because usually you're
long.
Yeah,
long
like
names.
The GS 41 BT 5
13,000 BTU.
or whatever. Yeah, 13,000 BT. Right. Yeah. Just keep throwing letters and numbers at it, and you've got an Australian hot rod.
But that was some truth to that. But yeah, that was the one that got away for me. I wish I still had that. But sold it to buy a house, so what are you going to do? You could actually live in the back of a Falcon panel van, but I didn't think of that at the time. Possibly should have. Tawa knows what I'm talking about.
Does he live in the back of a panel van?
No, but he lives in Aussie, so he's familiar with the panel
Oh,
vans.
right.
Kiwi Classics and Customs. Oh, it looks like I'm commenting.
What was that?
I'm commenting.
Oh, look at you.
That's Mrs. Kiwi. Acronism. Kiwi supports the wrong colour in the state of origin. No, he doesn't. It's the maroons all the way. No, well, you haven't got a clue what I'm talking about, even.
I'm
not
lost.
a clue. But
I
that's
just
normal.
smile and nod.
That's fairly normal.
It's good. It's good.
Acronism will know what I mean. Yeah, maroons all the way. Mrs. Kiwi's a blues supporter, so what are you going to do? She makes up for it in other areas. Justin Billington, seeing as detonation is the main cause for stock engines failing when being leaned on, would running alcohol be a good insurance for the guys on a budget, as it's almost impossible to detonate?
I disagree with it being impossible, almost impossible to detonate, but yes, it is. It's less prone to detonation. So yeah.
Mostly old parts. At Kiwi, how difficult is it to convert a right-hand drive vehicle to the correct hand drive? Well, you mean to screw it up and put it on the wrong side? Okay. No, I don't actually quite into that. It doesn't really matter. It is difficult. It's not an easy thing. Unless it's one, like sometimes you'll get a car that was produced right-hand drive and left-hand drive, depending on the market they were selling it to. And then you can just buy the factory parts and get all the left-hand drive stuff, just put it in. But when you've got to start putting a steering box that used to be on the right-hand side and make it fit on the left-hand side, that gets tricky, and geometry is funny, and your turn signal switches are always on the wrong side because they're on the opposite side on a right-hand drive. Your shifter is on.
Well, the firewall.
Your automatic shifter, column shifter, is on this side in a right-hand drive car.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of changes.
But the firewall is completely different. Like if you're talking about, because Ron's got a Roadrunner, so you're talking about like A and B body Mopars of the era. The whole firewall setup is different. The upper part is the same, but the part under the cowl down to the transmission tunnel, that's a completely different stamping. But the interesting thing is on the Dodge trucks, like this one over here, the frame is a Dodge truck. It has, so the steering box has got a lot of different allowances made in the frame to fit the steering box,
right?
And then mirrored on the other side.
Yeah.
So that would be an easy swap.
Yeah, if it's catered to that right and left-hand drive market, it makes it a lot easier. What else have we got? UTG holiday, official UTG holiday drink, Scrooge driver. Take an old-fashioned glass or cup and add Tang and vodka. Oh, that's classy.
Well, that was called Tango. And back see, back when I was a kid, 17, 18, 19 years old, right? That was the drink, Tango, and that's exactly what it was, Tang and vodka. And boy, it will destroy you.
Where did it go? Oh, Caleb Parker. Would a 383 be better than a 440 or just go 360? I think that's that Duster question again.
The 360 is the easiest. A 360 Magnum, boy, it's hard to beat that for just bucks. You know what I mean? Like availability and the cost and stuff like that. Man, you cannot beat a 360 Magnum for just a well-rounded, cheap, easy to work with Mopar.
Kiwi comes in 2 trim levels, classic or custom.
Yes,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, he's not taking a piss.
No,
pissless. That's his third level is pissless.
Mad Max movie Sandman panel van. Yeah, that was cool too. Dean Stevenson, the Aussie Valiants don't have flow-through ventilation. Window wipers are easy swaps. Aussie cars had a heap of problems with rust and holding the steering box on the right hand side, left hand drive easy. Oh really? Okay. I've never tried it the other way.
He asked me somebody just asked me what my worst speeding ticket was.
Ooh.
It was the second time I lost my license when I was like 17. They got me for 104 in a 40 over the Verrazano Bridge
Ooh.
during a
How
snowstorm.
many nights did you
I had to-
during
I had to get home.
during a snowstorm?
During a snowstorm.
How many nights did you spend in jail?
None.
None?
No, it was New York in the 70s. It was like, go ahead, just here's the ticket.
What'd that cost you back then?
I don't remember. Well, of course, my license. I lost my license
Well,
the
okay.
second time. Then I didn't have one for like 30 years.
30.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness me.
So yeah, that was my worst ticket. My favorite ticket was one that my brother Ralph got, which was 165 in a 50, and that was on the Richmond Parkway. And he got that right after I crashed one of my. I crashed my Ninja, and I had these giant scabs. I had this one scab. It was like this big. Kathy's gonna start cringing now, right? So this giant scab had come off of me. At the same time, my brother Ralph got this ticket. 160, I guess it was 165 or whatever it was in a 50 on the Richmond Parkway.
165 mile an hour.
In a 50, yeah.
What was he driving that could do that speed?
A
That's
GSX
fast.
600.
Oh, yeah.
So I put his ticket and my scab up on the wall in my shop with a thumb. You have to be there.
Oh, God. You just put me off my dinner completely now. Yeah. Okay. VCMD propulsion. So I was the one asking about dual carbs on my 429 Marauder engine. Manifold didn't match, so I got a single carb with 600 Edelbrock. Got it running perfect. Put water in it, and block is broken at the rear.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. Now, into each life a little rain must fall. Yank that thing out, get yourself another block.
Yeah. Yeah. What would have caused that?
I have no
Put
idea.
water in it.
I don't know, maybe it was cracked or something at the back when you put the water in it, just poured out.
Yeah. Damn.
That's happened to all of us, though.
It's pretty disappointing when it happens.
That's happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you button everything, especially if it's a car you don't know or an engine, and you button it all up and you put a liquid in. You always start it before you put a liquid in. And it starts and it runs and everything's good. And you're like, okay, now I'll pour the water in it and everything else. And then it just pisses out on the ground.
I had a race engine that brand new, like first fire up, like it was just warming up, going through like its 10-minute heat cycle.
Yeah.
Just piston let go. Just spat up bits of rings and piston into the intake manifold.
Oh, what caused that?
Undetermined. We never did figure it out. Just let go. We think it was a bad one. Presume, not even think really, because there wasn't enough left to diagnose the piston. It was just in little bits.
Yep.
But it was just not even being driven, and it just made a weird noise and stopped.
Just on your brake end.
Yeah.
It sucks. I've never had that happen, but
yeah. So shit does happen sometimes, and it's a race engine, so it's like, oh well, sorry for your luck. Well, which really stings.
Bring another pile of cash.
Yeah. 8 1/4 Mopar rear ends are fairly plentiful and cheap compared to their 8 3/4 cousins. Yes. Realistically, what are the performance limits for an 8 1/4 rear end? That's a question for you, Tony.
With an automatic and street tires and like no trans brake or anything, stupid power, like crazy stupid power. You can probably feed 700 horsepower to it and it's fine. Put 300 horsepower to it through a stick on drag radials and it will just absolutely come apart. So it just depends on the use.
And how vicious you are.
Ask me how I know.
Yeah, and how vicious you are on the clutch of it too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Blue button. There we go, blue button. Travis Moore, I can't believe I installed Linux on a Chromebook to watch this.
I can't either, bro. Why did you do that? Why'd you do that?
South Jersey Jim, 104 in a snowstorm on the
Verrazano Bridge.
Verrazano, sorry. Were you on meth and got the trots from the bad oysters or something?
No, it was just one of those things, man. I was a kid. I was like 17 years old, and I was just like, just let this hang out. Right? It was a Dodge Coronet station wagon. There were other details that are so crazy I won't even mention them, right? But yeah, it was just I was a kid, I was a kid. I was doing stupid shit. I was on my way to something in Brooklyn or wherever it was, and I just wanted to get there.
Linux rule. The fastest commercial fishing boat record. Nothing big, just 99 mile an hour. Okay. Dad of Breton, he got off. It's who you know, mate, not what you know. Yeah, knowing the police chief's daughter does definitely help, as long as you didn't do anything mean to her. Tony Freeman, you don't need a license from the king.
Thumper saying in the back of the wagon you had a chicken, 2 muskrats, a keg of Coors, 10 pounds of illegal fireworks, and 2 deceased hookers, right?
2 deceased hookers.
No. You want to know the God's honest truth? You want to know how nutty I was when I was a kid? So this car in that wagon had the gas tank straps had rotted through, right? This is New York City, right? Like, the car was only like 7 years old at the time, 6, 7 years old at the time.
Wow.
But, salt did its thing. So the gas tank straps had rotted and the tank fell out. So I had a 5-gallon pail, like a, whatever it was, a pickle pail. I had a 5-gallon pail in the back filled with gas, feeding the motor through a hose. I mean, I had a bad torsion. You can't make this shit up.
No.
Yeah. Listen, I was a nutty kid, okay? I was a nutty kid. I did a lot of crazy shit. I did a lot of really crazy shit. So,
what are your thoughts on the carb cheetah?
I don't really have any. It's it's a good idea. It's a good idea. But that's as far as I know about it.
Carbo, you got away with that. 106 mile an hour in a 37 mile an hour zone. 3 months license and a $50 fine. You got off lightly, I'd say.
You got to hear the story about the time I took the bus. Yeah, I know. I stole a bus. Pickle tank from Staten Island Pickle Works. It was a 5-gallon pail. I don't remember what it might have been pickles. It might have been pickles, Charlie. Spitfire Mike, will piston rings interchange between a LA 318 and a Poly 318? Yes, they will. Exactly.
Oh, they will interchange?
Yes, not with a Magnum, not with a Magnum, a 5.2, but an LA 318 and a Poly 318 have the same rings.
Zero. Dean even seen the movie From Hell. Okay. That's another conversation. We froze. No, it's just.
I know. I mean, we collectively froze.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
The boys are busy chatting amongst themselves, and like I think they've forgotten we're here.
I'm reloading. I'm reloading. Rebooting. Relay King 71.
At what power level would you go to 383 versus 360? I would think the stock B motor has quite the advantage in the heads, factory versus factory.
The opposite, bro. It's the opposite. The small block has a much better head, and the advantage is in the combustion chamber, the degree of the combustion chamber, and the angle at the exhaust port. Because you cannot beat the small block Mopar has the best exhaust port configuration. I was over at my friend Andy Mays. He's got a shop over here. So they just got some. They race Fox bodies, no prep grudge cars, right? So son Cameron was showing me the new heads that they got for one of their Ford motors, and I looked at the exhaust port and I says, it's almost a small block. It's almost as good as a small block motor. And he says, yep.
Virtual at the water. Commercial fishing boat with a 318 at 5 ton over 100 mile an hour. Find that one a bit of a hard to
How did you
believe.
do that?
That's an awful lot of boat to move at 100 mile an hour.
Yeah.
You need with a 318.
Yeah, you need a few rocket thrusters on the back of that thing.
Maybe a quad 318 setup. I might get it there.
Have
you seen the boats that they're kind of driving around in Miami these days with like 500 horsepower Mercuries on the back of them?
Yeah,
like
look,
5 engines wide.
There's too much money, man. There's just too much money out there.
Imagine what the
Can you
gas
even
bill is
use
like
that?
I guess if the water's dead flat, you can.
Well, if you think about it, as I know what you're talking about right now, I've seen like a dual motor thing makes kind of sense. All right.
Yeah.
But let's say you've got 3, 4, or 5 of these things on the back. Isn't the water so aerated at, let's say, from the outside props?
Oh, you're moving forward through it so fast, you're constantly hitting fresh water. Yeah. Meaning they'll kind of interfere with each other.
Yeah, I would think that the center ones, because if this is the back of the boat, okay, and you've got a prop here and a prop here, right? Wouldn't them, even though it's moving through the water, wouldn't the water in the center be so aerated that the center props wouldn't be pushing against anything?
I don't know. Honest answer. I don't. I mean, I understand what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, and the concept's not like it's not a silly concept. But with what the reality, my thoughts are that you'd be, when you're moving forward at 60, 70 mile an hour, you're getting such a rapid by like fresh water, untouched water, as you're going fast. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe somebody who knows something about boats.
I saw one the other day, and they had like this computerized joystick deal on it for maneuvering.
Okay.
And like they're moving the joystick around, and the 5 motors are all pointing different directions as they go. They're all changing. They're not just going all left and all right.
They're all doing.
They're all doing the thing, and the thing's just crabbing sideways as they're trying to pull up to the wharf. It's like, oh my god,
that's crazy.
Like, yeah, what's the software worth on that?
But that's the thing, like software. It's like, at what point does that take a shit?
In a saltwater boat.
People have just too much money and too much available technology.
Hamilton Jets, an airplane for the ocean. There you go. Hamilton Jets were invented in New Zealand. One of our claims to fame. Yep. Invented by a farmer who wanted to navigate some of the little rivers on his farm, but you couldn't go up with anything with a propeller, so he came up with the jet unit, and you can bounce over rocks going up if you've got an aluminum bottom boat, you could bump into rocks and you weren't tearing props off because the prop was up inside the boat. That's why they came up with it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And if you want to watch some fun sport, is the jet sprint racing. Have you ever watched jet sprint racing?
Not really.
Where they got little 14-foot aluminum boats with like 600-700 horsepower with these huge jet units, and they go around this little zigzag course.
Okay.
And the turning, the G's in the corners.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I've seen that. I've seen that.
And when they get it wrong, it's like, come back. Like they're just crashing and rolling, and they're like out of the camera shot.
I've seen that.
And like the camera's trying to catch up with them, and they're just gone. They're like heading for orbit. Like it's good to watch. Like, and they have a co-driver who sits there going, left, right, left, because they zigzag and they double back on themselves, and it's all in like 18 inches of water. Yeah, like 6 foot wide.
Oh wait, Paul Cavazola is saying the center engines and props set forward of the outboard engines.
Okay,
that would make sense.
Yep.
Are you speculating, or is that how it's actually done?
I don't know. On a twin engine setup, they have counter-rotating props because otherwise the things constantly want to turn one way, so they spin them opposite ways. I don't know what they do when they've got 5 and 6 engines. Whether the right 3 engines turn one way and the left 3 engines turn the other way.
Well, the 5th one would be the odd one out.
Well, yeah, what's that going to do?
maybe it spins
like a
this way.
paddle steamer.
Yeah.
We got it worked out. It only took us like 10 minutes.
We need to build a boat now.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
mini engines.
UTG.
Let's
UTG
yeah, the
goes
UTG
boating.
2-mini engine boats. Oh, VCMD propulsion. Well, with propulsion in your name, that would definitely qualify you. Tony, it's called hull speed. Once you breach the angle on the hull, it don't matter how much horsepower you have. That's the top hull speed.
No, okay.
Okay.
I guess the game with all the horsepower is how quick you can get there, I suppose. What blows me away, they got 2,500 horsepower hanging off the transom and off the back of the boat.
I just off
Like,
a fiberglass.
I don't think No More Nails is going to hold that. Like, what do they build the back of the boats out? One's a weight, like they're heavy.
Well,
have you like I went to a boat show a while ago and you stand beside one of these 400 horsepower engines and they're taller than me.
I know,
You're looking at the top. It's like, where's the pull cord?
I'm sure they've got a crazy like chromoly structure, like a bird cage built into the glass. So
They've got to have to do something. The other thing on those big engines too, the bottoms turn. Like the whole outboard doesn't turn now. That's the latest thing on them. The whole outboard doesn't go left or right. It's just it sits there straight, and then the base, the actual base of it turns. So just the prop turns left or right. Because they're so big, they can't be like bouncing around. Like,
especially if you got like multiple in a row. You can't have them all.
Yeah, so just the bottoms just wag. It's quite cool.
Okay, Tony, whatever happened to the boat that you gave your kid, or he had it or something? I gave it to him like 2 years ago. It's on the side of his house. They haven't taken it out.
Barry Cooter. New Zealand invented the jet boat. Australia invented the rotary clotheslines. And that probably encapsulates...
Now, what is a rotary clothesline?
It's a clothesline that spins around. Like instead of just being a long string, it's on like a big cross on a center axle, vertical axle. And you can spin it around. So the wind turns it. So it's rotary. No, it works quite well, but I mean, I think that encapsulates the whole New Zealand Australia thing. Like New Zealand comes up with the Hamilton jet, which is a technical, propulsion system for.
And Australia makes a clothesline.
Make a clothesline. That's our two claims to fame. So they're like, I what else can I say? Like, Australia peaked at the rotary clothesline. Then we wait for the backlash from the Aussies on here. It's rolling up now. Rotary clothesline. Oh, Jesus, started something now. Rotary clotheslines can hold 7 family members on it while Dad winds it at over 250 RPM. Yeah, the kids used to love playing on the rotary. You'd run up, jump up, and grab the line, and you'd spin around like a freaking merry-go-round.
How do we not have this in this country?
Well, yeah, I mean,
this is the first I'm hearing of a rotary clothesline.
Oh, yeah,
when I was a kid, there was clotheslines everywhere.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
No, they were great. I mean, they were doubled as a clothesline and a kid's plaything. Yeah. And if you were the kid that always got bullied, you got hung on the clothesline and
spun around. Nice. We used to give those kids swirlies.
Oh yeah, I know.
Did you do swirlies?
No, I don't remember ever doing swirlies. No.
Well, the kid's hair would go in the opposite direction. Was that just a New York thing? Did anybody else give swirlies?
Yeah. Oh, blue button. New Zealand invented Morris. I'm grateful from Tabo. Yeah. Morris is like this treacle type oil additive that you put into very tired old engines.
Okay.
And it gives increases the viscosity to some never before known
just
level.
Short of Jello.
Just short of Jello,
right.
Yeah. But the bearings didn't rattle anymore once you put that in there. I mean, it lowered the horsepower by about 80%, but didn't rattle. Mike N used to play on Grandma's rotary clothesline when he was a kid. So he knows. Swirlies were a familiar threat in Boston.
Okay.
There you go.
Swirlies were a national thing. All right, good. It wasn't just us.
Thumper the sweaty fat guy. Never gave nor got one, but I knew about them. Yeah, it's kind of the same there. Yeah, I'd heard about swirlies, but we were watching, like American movies. But no, fortunately, was
Swirlies.
never on the receiving end.
Swirlies were a weekly occurrence in Detroit.
What? Oh, swirlies were a weekly. Translated into English, what Tony was trying to say, that swirlies were weekly occurrence in Detroit. See, it's not English. It's not English.
So it was a national phenomenon.
I get the feeling Tony's given more swirlies than he's received. How funny it was, because I'm sure if he received swirlies on a regular basis, the humour would rapidly dissipate.
Every kid receives a swirly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it happens.
A rite of passage.
If you survive the swirly, you laugh about it afterwards.
Oh, shit. Really? No
but in the moment, it's tragic.
Oh, yeah,
it's like it's bad.
Rocky Myers just got here. Have I missed any conspiracy theories tonight?
Oh, not yet.
Not yet. We're working on that. Looks like there could be a market for rotary clothesline in America. Yeah, but what would OSHA say? Good Lord. You'd have to have a rubber padding on the ground everywhere, like underneath the clothesline. You couldn't avoid the swirly giver for 1 week.
It was mostly boys. What was that?
Subject to wedgies, though. Yeah.
The wedgie too. The atomic wedgie.
What's the atomic wedgie?
The atomic wedgie is when you actually rip the underwear.
Oh yeah.
You grab that's 2 hands.
Yeah.
On the weight, the elastic band, and then you pull it hard enough that it actually rips it.
I've been the recipient of an atomic wedgie.
Okay.
Just ask Mrs. Kiwi.
We've all been the recipient of.
Oh yeah. Wasn't that long ago either, actually. I think I said something I shouldn't have. Yeah. What is a swirly? Is it done on a roundabout or something? No. Do you want to explain that? You can have that.
Somebody explain what a swirly is. I can't.
You won't be able to stop laughing. Holland Drab, no need to pass out instruction manuals. Oh, this is cute.
So somebody just asked if I have an assorted extra to sell. I sell things, but I never sell them to viewers. I don't sell anything. When we sell something, it's completely anonymous through our local, like marketplace and stuff like that. I do not sell stuff to viewers.
Eddie Marshall, swirlies are the other direction in Australia. Yeah. There we go. Norm, dunk, face in, toilet bowl, and flush. Yeah, that's a pretty concise version of a swirly, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's usually quite a bit of kicking and screaming mixed in with that.
Mopar ShopRite. Know anyone who can machine a blower intake for a small block Mopar? Dyers has them in stock. Tavo, except shirts and hats. Yes, we sell merch to viewers, but we don't sell vehicles or parts to viewers.
Mostly old parts. Atomic wedgie is pulling the waistband up over the head of the wedgie.
Well, you have to rip the waistband.
Well,
to do that.
Yeah. Toilet bowl diving. Thumper. It involves a commode, a cranium, and a vertical application.
Tony, did you know Ed Miller? No, I did not. He was a good guy. I've never heard anything bad about him, but no, I didn't know him.
And Kahoot says to Tony, demonstrate a wedgie on Kiwi for educational purposes.
I'm good. He doesn't now. We're going to pass on. Yeah. ZZZ Racing. Uncle Tony, you need a modern Hemi. No, I don't. You do. I don't. He's got a modern Hemi that he's putting in something.
One day, when I catch up.
Let's see.
Works, works better with Miss. I love Tech Talk Wednesday.
Who
Talking
does?
about I do, like talking about wedgies and swirlies, and
Well, I
this
mean,
is what Tech Talk is all about.
it doesn't necessarily have to be car tech. I
No,
mean,
it's true.
swirly tech and
Swirly
wedgie tech is tech.
Yeah. Rocky Myers, yes, you're right. I would put up a hell of a fight, yeah. Especially with Tony trying to do it. Yeah.
Travis Moore.
Mrs. Kiwi snuck up on me when I did it. She caught me when I wasn't unawares. That's
Travis
my
Moore.
story.
Did any kids burn their eyebrows off at your school? This kid blew lighter fluid out of his mouth, and then it back. We all did that. We all did that. That was the lighter.
I didn't do that.
You never did this?
No.
Oh, didn't go.
With all that facial hair, you'll go up like a bloody bonfire.
I can't do it anymore. There's not enough juice on these lighters to let it go.
You one of those fillers, the actual cigarette lighter filler things.
I told this story
Yeah,
on a Sunday Night Live once. I just got to get this out of my system. So when I had the coffee houses, right?
Right.
So we always used to have these bets, right? So one of them was the slice of bread challenge. Where you can't eat a slice of bread in under 30 seconds. Okay.
Right.
You can't. It'll just right. We had the cinnamon challenge that you can't eat a teaspoon of cinnamon, right? You know, get it down, right? So, and we also had the milk challenge, and that was you couldn't drink a gallon of whole milk in an hour. So we used to have kids come in all the time to try these challenges. So, and we would bet on them. Okay. So I had this one kid come in. This is so off topic. This is so off topic. So I have to I'll give you a quick version of it. So we have this one kid come in, and he wants to take the milk bet, right? So I says, okay, so what do you want to put up, right? So he says, well, I don't have any money. I says, well, then how are we going to bet? He says, well, what do you want me to do? I says, I want to bet you your clothes. He says, all my clothes? I says, yeah, all your clothes, right? So he says, all right, let's do it. So I says, all right, put your clothes up on the bar. So this kid, this is in the middle of a coffee house. Okay, it's about 10 o'clock at night. Everybody's like there, right? There's like maybe 30 people in the room. He strips down butt ass naked, puts his clothes up on the bar, and proceeds to do the gallon of milk. Right? He gets to this much from the bottom. Right. So anytime anybody did the milk challenge, I always had somebody with a garbage bag sitting next to them to catch the puke. Right. They get, right? So he gets this much from the bottom, and he pukes into the bag. So he lost the bet, right? So he leaves the coffee house, butt ass naked, covering his junk with the garbage bag full of puke, right? So it's like, this is a win. This is a win. And we took his clothes and we hung it up on the wall as as a trophy. So he comes back 2 days later, right? 3 days later, and he says, I want. He's wearing old reggae clothes. He's going to do the bet again.
Stolen off a homeless person.
Yeah, no, he thinks he's going to bet his clothes again. Right? I don't want his clothes this time. So he says, all right, same bet. You go for my clothes. I says, no, I don't want your clothes. I says, I want your eyebrows.
How does he put them back on if he wins? Like, come on.
So the kid gets 3/4, gets in the same spot.
Glad it's the short version.
There's just much left on the bottom of it. There's this much left on the bottom of the gallon of milk. And he turns and he pukes into the garbage pail. So he sent one of the girls and hung out there over to a 24-hour pharmacy, and she bought a razor. He shaved his eyebrows. So he said, I can't let you leave with no eyebrows. So we took a Sharpie and we drew in eyebrows. You had to be there.
Tony just can't understand why he got shut down.
You had to be there. But this was like, we did this kind of stuff literally every night. Every night there was something like that going on. I'm sorry if I got sidetracked there.
Barfly. Nobody wins a dairy. I reckon I could drink a gallon of milk in an hour.
You cannot do it.
No?
What do you want to go for?
No.
Your eyebrows.
No.
Well, you don't really have eyebrows, really. Well, I mean, they're light.
Yeah.
Yeah. he would walk around. He looked like his eyebrows were like this, so he looked like a surprised cartoon character.
Oh dear, things are going downhill. Tony, how do you have so many crazy, fantastical stories? That's a very good question.
Because I have
Yes,
lived.
Jeff Hutchins. Yes, I noticed that. I almost said something, but yeah, you actually touched me there. You didn't get all.
Did I? Well, I didn't get all weird on that, right?
No.
How do I have all these stories? Because I've never had a job. I've always worked for myself, and because I always work for myself, every day is a new adventure. So you have 365 days in a year. There's 365 adventures. Now throw that over the course of 60 years, and the stories pile up.
Oh, a tech question. Oh. I have a 68 AMX with a 390 V8 that hasn't been started in 15 years. What's the safest way to start it? Pull the plugs, put a bit of something down there, transmission and acetone.
Not mozzarella.
What?
Not mozzarella.
What's that?
Well, you said don't. You said put something in there.
Yeah.
And I just threw in don't put mozzarella.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for adding that, Tony. That was very helpful.
That's what I do.
But yeah, a little bit of just some lubricant freeing agent, of your choice. Let that soak for a day. Make sure there's oil in it, preferably drain it and change it. And see if it turns over by hand. If it turns over by hand, it'll probably start.
Stray Bullet 3390 for a shut-in hermit. Tony has been around. I'm only a shut-in. I'm a neurotic recluse, but only when it comes to this stuff, because like I don't know like you guys personally. If that make any sense? Like you know me, but I don't know you. So there's a real weirdness there. But when I know you, like we're in each other's faces, it's a whole different. I'm not a recluse in that.
Tavo Garage. Should I use a 265 head on a 245 or keep the 245 head? I wouldn't have a clue. I don't think many people on this are going to know that. Is there actually much difference? Or is he taking the piss?
He's taking the piss.
He could be taking the piss.
I believe there's a piss being taken.
That could. KY Loom works great for starting old engines. The question is, how do you know this? To be there. Norm, check the fuel lines in the tank. Yes. Well, yeah. That's a good point. If you're just trying to start the engine, just a fuel can and a bit of fuel and a bit of gravity feed, I'd take the tank and the lines out of the question, because 15 years, they're going to be bad. So if you're just trying to see if the engine will pop into life, yeah, just a little bit of fuel from a fuel can. But ultimately, that will need doing. Passing out around us, Patrick and Connor. Passing out around us in the 80s could vary from Sharpie decorations to stuffing you in a dress and dumping you off at a seawall.
No lie, that's how it was in the 70s, man. You're exactly right.
Did you wake up in a dress sometimes?
No. But there was the guy Nipplehead that we were talking about.
Yeah.
He passed out.
He
passed out at a party we had. My parents were gone for a vacation or whatever it was, and dumb enough to leave me.
I was going to say, they trusted you with that.
Yeah. So he passed out at my house, and I said we did things that I really can't. I can't. But yeah, I can't.
Blue button. Mostly old parts. We're parting out a Chevy S10 with a complete CNG fuel system. Would you be interested in the setup for testing on the a CNG fuel system? Which is compressed natural gas.
I know. How much different is that going to be from propane, and how available would it be?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Right. See, propane I know I can get in lots and lots of places. CNG I don't think I can. So.
LPG we used to be referred to as limited. Well, LPG, which is propane, that used to be referred to as limited performance gas.
Okay.
And then CNG was completely no go gas. like you drop more power with CNG. So that's one thing I will tell you. Like if you're going to run it on propane and then go to CNG, I can tell you ahead of time it's going to make less power. So yeah, I mean, nice offer, great offer, but between the difficulty of getting it and the dull performance, I don't.
So I'll pass
I
on.
don't know.
Yeah. He knows the ins and the outs. I'll pass on it then.
Just like in New Zealand, it was very popular for probably 7 or 8 years. The government was supporting people converting their cars and all that sort of stuff. Speed Demon CNG is a 15% drop in power. Yeah, and that's they're not exact. That's a minimum 15%, I would say, from my memories of it.
Oh, Zero saying, boss, meanwhile, we've been setting up things for the multi-live stream event. By setting up things, I mean Kathy. Yes, that's what she does. She runs all of this stuff. I'm just the ding-dong in front of the camera. She does all the important things to keep the channel running.
Virtual at the War saying that shit happened in the 99s as well. Yeah, I'll bet. Mexican spec. Oh, yeah, okay. So CNG was big down Mexico as well. That's interesting. No, and the range on CNG was low. Like you couldn't get very far on a tank. You were talking like 100 kilometers, which is 60 miles on a like a double tank. It was horrible, and that was like in a 4-banger.
No, that's not good.
A big V8.
That's not good.
No, it worked. It was not bad if you had a taxi with a bunch of tanks in there and you could like fill up every hour and a half. Vilefly, I will have to teach my wife to do the Kathy thing for me.
Homer wants to know, what's the best cannoli in Tennessee? Publix. Publix has as good a cannoli as you'll find any place in New York, any place, anywhere. Publix cannolis are the good. If you got a Publix near you, try the cannoli there. Achievement 63 or 64 Dart, which body style do you prefer? They're literally identical cars with the exception of the grill, and I prefer the 64.
There you go.
Homer, really? Yes, really. Publix. Go to Publix, get a cannoli. It's a world-class cannoli. Everything in the Publix bakery is as good as you'll get anywhere in New York.
Yeah, Speed Demon saying his company used to convert fleets, from gas to CNG, Ford Chevys, new cars with hardened valves. They the gas propane's the same too, I believe. It's very dry.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
Very dry, so they tend to be hard on valve guides. You basically get
valve seats. Oh no, guides.
No, actual guides they were having trouble with because the valve seals would do a good job up the top, keeping the oil out, and they didn't get any lubrication from the gas or the lead back in those days because the fuel was leaded back then.
Right.
So that actually helped to lubricate the valve stems.
That makes sense.
And the seats as well. They would sink, the valves would sink into the seats. Again but I mean it does that on gasoline too, doesn't it?
But I mean it's not like I'm going to run this thing, like it's not going to be a taxi cab.
No. It's just an observation. Not saying you can't do it on the Helvetia, but that is one of the problems they ran into. It's kind of just a bunch of those little things are why it faded away as an alternative fuel. Hopefully, like electric cars. We have not talked about electric cars tonight.
Well, somebody just commented there. Mopar Casey, did you see the Tesla burning completely submerged in a lake? Yes, I did. Did you see that one?
No, underwater it was burning.
Under completely submerged, completely underwater, and there's just fire on top of the water. It's from a Tesla. They were backing it into to launch or pick up a jet ski, and the thing slipped into the water. Once it got underwater, it caught fire, and then it kept going until it finally was completely submerged under the water, and there's just fire on top of the water.
So there was some flammable fumes coming up from the batteries that were igniting once it got some oxygen.
Yep.
Wow, that's scary stuff.
Or the lithium ion was burning under the water, making its own oxygen. Because that's when they burn the way they do.
Okay. Yeah, should have been too. Mexican spec. Kiwi's numbers are getting close to Tony's. Look up
Oh,
here.
geez. Oh, my God.
262 to 225.
Wow.
I need more likes, guys. We're 40 behind. We need 40 likes, and we
That's
can
pretty crazy.
we put the old boy to bed.
Holy shit! Look what time it is.
Yeah.
It's.
I've only been here an hour and a half, so I'm good.
Yeah. Well, you know, I covered for you, brother.
You
I covered for you.
You did. I'll have to watch the first half hour. But,
You'll have to go back and watch,
Yeah,
catch up on everything.
Yeah.
Okay. And Fubar just put only to our merch. All right. So Kiwi, what do you got going on your channel this week? No, that's it. Okay. So not much going on in Kiwi's channel, but you should go over there and subscribe. You should go over there and subscribe to his channel. Anyway, it's very important.
I will have a video out this week.
You will.
I will.
Okay.
I will have a video out this week.
And it's going to be the best video you've ever seen, right?
Well, something's getting better. My numbers are climbing. Like the last video I put out had 20-something thousand views, and the one before that was 60,000.
Oh, that's quaint.
It's Mr. 1 million views. We got to start somewhere.
I've had a few.
As mere mortals, we just have to take what's left over. Once you've hogged all the
my
viewers.
sloppy seconds. Yeah, you can have them.
Yeah, but,
all right.
We take what we can get.
So go over there, sub to his channel, and you never sent the guy to Pony.
No, we didn't. Well, we sent it. It just didn't arrive. I guess it got away.
What about pastrami? Let's work with P things. How about you send any of your new subscribers some pastrami?
Pastrami.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
You got some. You're not too far from Belmead. You got some actual Jewish delis in Belmead, so you can get good pastrami. Yeah. So make that sub to Kiwi's channel. Get some pastrami. He'll send it to you.
We'll drop ship it from Uncle Tony.
How's your merch going?
Next question.
All right.
Hey, I got as far as making some inquiries, and I've got to get the artwork together.
All right. Well,
so it's the gears are going. They're just going very slowly as per usual.
Yeah. Well,
but hey,
you guys from the raft are a little behind.
We're a little behind. Yeah. So
all right.
Yeah, beanies will be coming. Beanies, because I don't really like baseball caps because they don't fit me. So we'll have beanies, t-shirts.
You should have crash helmets.
Crash.
Yes.
And they can use them as a flotation device in the boats. Like when just jump in my size crash helmet, and you can just row home.
Let's roll out of here, Kiwi.
Okay.
Everybody contributed to Super Chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Greatly
guys.
appreciated. Never expected
it.
but always appreciated. Everybody contributed just at your presence and your conversation. Thank you for being you. Thank you for putting up with my shit. It's so sub to Kiwi's channel.
Kiwi merch equals one beanie. Well, at this point, it's one beanie. Okay, you got me.
And
but we've got more. We're getting more.
And our awesome mods, as always, Ari Fubar Zero, guys. Thank you so much. And we'll solidify this thing for the Thanksgiving live. You're gonna be in on it, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So Thanksgiving weekend, we'll have a live with our mods. We'll all actually get together and talk for the first time face to face.
More or less. So I'll just do it from my place.
Yeah.
Cool.
Make sure you wear your Thanksgiving costume.
Right.
It's going to be a costume event. And that's it. Let's make this stop now.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you all. And
sorry I was late, but hey, I tried to make up for it.
Good night.
Good night.